literally, this cognitive dissonance can like make us sick. Like, hey friends, welcome to Chloe Hummingbird TV. I'm your favorite millennial hippie, Chloe Hummingbird, and today we're gonna be talking about how to be yourself. But before we get started, if you've been here before, you're probably like, where you been? Where you at? Where you be? Okay. Life has been lifing the past year, and we're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna get all into it, okay? I just felt like I couldn't post at a normal pace because I feel like in my life was lifing, and I was out of alignment. So because of that, I feel like I couldn't speak my truth and talk from an authentic place. Now I am literally practicing what I preach, so I can feel like I can show up as myself, as a healer, as a yoga teacher, as your source of getting to know yourself and liberating your mind, body, and spirit. And I don't know about you, but I want myself a healer, yoga teacher person who has gone through the trenches and risen up and gotten themselves out and really experienced the crazy roller coaster of life. So now that's why I'm back. Okay, now I can really talk from a place of truth. Let me be honest, for a few years, I haven't really been living in my truth, living in alignment, and living in a place that feels like whole for me. And that is because I was not, taking care of my body, taking care of my mind. I slipped into depression. And even when I was in it and being out, I knew that it was indicative of the lifestyle that I was living in that space, even though I know better, even though I've been practicing yoga for 13 years and, teaching consciousness for 11 years, even though we know this, it's like awareness is just the first step. I know I'm preaching to the choir, right? You can know something and be doing that thing for years, but it's very easy to slip out of a routine and a pattern. And even though I'm like, okay, I've been cultivating these routines for about a decade, I've had more time in my life outside of that when I was living not a non-nutritious lifestyle, not a good nutritious lifestyle. I wasn't really being embodied. I didn't have a connection to my mind. I didn't have these tools to cultivate awareness of self, stillness with self, or to even give myself grace. And I'm happy to say that I have stepped out of not only a depression of sorts, but also stepped back into a space where I am filled with so much joy and so much don't give up, that I want everybody to feel this great. You know what I'm saying? So many people don't know how good their bodies are designed to feel, their lives are designed to feel. And that's why I even talking about this, how to be yourself. 2023, October 7th, if you know, you know. And if you don't know, get up on game. Where you at? Okay. I have been forever changed by this Palestinian Holocaust. I can't even talk right now. Even getting the words out, it's like surreal. It's like I cannot even believe I'm living in a time where this is happening. I feel like I was born too soon in society, in the universe, where can we just all be barter culture and like hug each other and feed each other now? Like, what are we doing? My heart is broken, but I also am so thankful because ignorance is bliss, but knowledge is power. And I feel so incredibly empowered to know everything that I know now about the world community, more about world geography I'm more knowledgeable about. And I feel like, I've been practicing this meditation called Vipassana meditation. And essentially it's steeped in seeing reality for what it is and not the illusions of our minds that we want to create or we want things to be, but what are they really? And oh boy, this has literally been this year has been opening my mind of what is reality really, and really forcing myself to get further in alignment with my value system. It's easy to say thou shalt not kill or speak our truth, but when it's time to see, speak, and hear what is right in front of us, so many of us cower to reality. And there's so many reasons why we do that, right? And that's a whole another episode I can get into, like the barriers of people fully living in their value system in a society that doesn't foster that. And I think, yeah, it just forced me to get to know myself even more. And I feel so in alignment, and I feel so abundant. And because I'm like, I can say free Palestine, free Africa, free our minds, free us all. I can live that. And I actually started working at a job that was so out of alignment for me, you know? And I feel like it's so true, right? We try to regulate our nervous system and heal, but it's darn near impossible to fully regulate our nervous system in a society that was not designed for us, that was not designed for healing. We literally live in a society, in a world right now in 2024, 2025 around genocide, Holocaust. And it's crazy that so many of, like, we know what's happening in the Congo. We know that our phones, we know that our laptops, our electronics, we know that our everyday products and tools that we use, people are suffering. We know that children are being in the ground, taking out little mica and things. We know this. This knowledge is out there. We know this, but still we contribute. And now I'm in a place of my life and I'm saying no more. I'm not working at places that don't serve me. I'm not contributing my money to companies that feed into hurting others, you know, and I'm just shifting my life in such a way. It's like BDS, man, you know what I'm saying? I was so blessed to work at a place over a year that I, you know, was making great pay. I live in a studio space now. I live alone. That's like unheard of, right? I've been teaching for over a decade now, and I'm finally like full-time income just as a teacher. But like I said, a week ago, I no longer work with them. That's because it was so out of alignment. I would post something on my Instagram story about Palestine, and they would comment and say, well, you know, as long as you're being positive, I don't have to be positive on my Instagram channel. I don't have to be positive at all. And then it came to a point where they was like, okay, well, don't post anything that you say, like don't say anything in the studio and then post it on your Instagram or social media, because we don't want anyone to think that, you know, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but we agree with you. It always be kind of matched with, but we agree with you. Well, no, you don't agree with me. You don't see things how I see it, because you are censoring me. You are being literally a part of the problem to maintain your capitalistic gain. And I get that we live in a capitalistic society, so why wouldn't someone act accordingly? But there's capitalism, and then there's acting in alignment with your value system, and both can be in harmony with each other. We've seen brands do it before, but time again and again and again, we see companies either be the oppressor or side with the oppressor in such a way that it increases the oppressor's power. Don't get me started about Target and DEI. We're boycotting them forever. Speaking of changes in my own life, I have 2 apps. Oh my God, you guys are gonna love this. They're not paying me. They should be though. One app is called Boycott, and it's all about the BDS movement. It is boycott, divest, and sanction from any companies or corporations that are involved with apartheid or Holocaust or genocide of any sort. And the next thing I want to tell you about is yucca. Y-U-C-A, sorry. Yucca, like the yucca plant, the yucca root. And that is an app that lets you know all the brands that are poisoning us with their ingredients based on like comparing Americans' FDA standards to the EU, which has much better regulations in terms of not killing their citizens like us. I always do the cough thing, like a little off. I say, I'll cough and then say the thing after. I'm such a troll. Anyway, that's really been a lot of why I have been away this past year. One, I was working in an environment where I couldn't speak my truth and also in body, mind, spirit, I was just not on the alignment because I was not eating what was right for me. I was not moving my body in a way that was right. And I mean, cut myself some slack. I am living in a place of genocide and Holocaust, and we got a pandemic. And just the last 5 years, can we just not? Also, it's been hard to come on here and like talk about my life as an artist, as a multidisciplinary artist, because I am reshaping who I am, conceptualizing what I want to produce, the gigs and the roles that I want to take, the corporations I want to be featured with. And so it's kind of hard, one, to talk about being in alignment as a yogi, as a human, and while not being in alignment in my job. I was a fraud. I would basically come on here and be the fraudiest fraud ever. But moving forward, if I get into a place that's not in alignment, instead of running away from the channel and my truth, I can use this, this meaning myself, as a tool for you to hopefully learn from and do better, okay? Last reason I stayed away from my YouTube channel in the past year is because I was assaulted by a police officer. And hopefully you can't tell, hopefully I'm as beauteous as ever. I have a left dorsal fracture, crack in my nose. It healed improperly because I went to the ER and they gave me a referral. But how trauma works, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna be empowered. And then the next moment you're just like, well, maybe I should just let it go and it's not that bad and maybe I should get over it. And then also I was going alone. I didn't have like the support system, and there was like a lot going on. My friends having their own drama at the time, even though I do have a support system. And me and my boyfriend, we weren't together. Long story, but we cute. We're so cute, you guys. He's the bestest man in the whole wide world. And his loving doggy of like 13, 15 years just died. He had to put him down because he had cancer 3 years ago. Our dog Sadiq, not my boyfriend, had cancer, and they put like a few thousand to, get him healed in remission. Just after that, he hasn't been the same, and he's just been kind of slowly deteriorating. And it was time. It's been a really hard weekend, to be honest. Today is Monday. I think that was Friday morning or Saturday morning. And today, because of the weekend, we couldn't quite get him cremated. And so he just put a bunch of flowers around him and sage and took the most beautiful, like, little mini at-home photo shoot and kept his face really cool. And luckily, he's not, like, rigor mortising soon. It took, like, a really long time for even that to happen. He's not decomposing or anything yet. We can't, visually anyway, maybe some things are happening on the inside. But today, we're going to do the cremation process. So it's been a lot happening that, it just fed into why I've been away. And I've just been the assault with the cop. I've been afraid to come on here and talk about it because, insecurity, being on camera. I'm a model, I'm an actor, I'm a dancer, I'm a front-facing visual person. I do things behind the scenes as well, like, choreography, producing, and writing that, like, nobody can see or knows about, but, like, that is happening as well. And I've just been insecure because sometimes I can see it some days, other days I can't. What do you guys think? Can you see it? Let me know if you can see it. My boyfriend's like, no, I totally don't know what you're talking about. Other people like, oh no, I can totally see it. There's like a little lump right here, and I'm wearing makeup. But anyway, I have been away for so many reasons, and this is the start of hopefully something new. This is the start of something new. You know. Drop it in the comments if you know that reference. No cheating and going to AI or Google or something, okay? Without further ado, let's get into how to be yourself, friends. Being yourself means embracing who you truly are, being in alignment with yourself and your value system, mind, body, and spirit, without fear of judgment, or even if there is fear, disregarding that fear and being yourself anyway, because life is too short and life can be so amazing. Like I said before, so many people don't know how good their bodies and lives are designed to feel because they're so caught up in the respectability politics and just all the social things, the barriers that keep us from being who we are. These are 4 tips that will help you in your consciousness journey and your journey to getting to know yourself and your journey to being yourself. But before these tips, remember, you can only greet others with as much compassion as you're able to meet yourself with, okay? So on your journey to getting to know yourself, remember to be kind to yourself. Number 1 on how to be yourself. Get to know yourself. The art of getting to know thyself is the greatest art there is, okay? Your body is designed to feel uplifted, alive, and abundant. Really tap into the mind-body connection because so often it's our perception of reality that causes us this dissonance, of cognitive dissonance of reality of the world at large that creates our suffering. We can go around saying, no, the world's not like this, the world is not like that, it's all this. But the truth is, the law of direct duality is real. Everything sucks and everything is amazing and beautiful all at the same time. And it's leaning into the reality, the education of what's beautiful and what needs work truly within ourselves and within society as a whole. Push short, you can't be happy if you ain't keeping it real. We want to live in this toxic positivity. You know what I'm saying? What did Martin Luther King say? He said something about society wanting to live in a negative peace, which rather than a positive peace, which is justice. And what in reality society needs is justness, is an awakening of calling a spade a spade. How can we go through nearly a year of a Palestinian Holocaust and we still can't say what it is? Number 2, make decisions on what feels right for you, not what feels right for your mama, not feels right for your daddy, your sister. What? Don't marry some person that I'll be seeing on TikTok. Oh, I married them because it was kind of a public proposal and I felt like I couldn't say no in front of everybody. Are you living for everybody? Or are you living for you? I had a homegirl once. She's like, oh, well, you know, my family would want me to date a so-and-so kind of guy. And I'm like, but you're not attracted to those people. You're attracted to Mexican guys. So who gonna be sleeping with, is your mama? Is your daddy? You gotta do what's right for you, Glen Coco. I just had my boyfriend watch that movie. And I thought he would like it. You know what I'm saying? Tina Fey, that's some good writing. It's so good they made it into didn't they make it in Broadway? Did they make it a musical? Right? Like, he wasn't down, y'all. It's not he's a mountain man. He's not his demographic. Number 3, stop comparing yourself to others, okay? I feel like I have been guilty of it in the past. And honestly, I'm surprised when it happens. It sneaks up on me because in a place in my healing journey where I can look at anybody and I see they're amazing and I can just be inspired by it and appreciate it. It don't matter if it's another model. It don't matter if it's another dancer. It don't matter. You know what I mean? It don't matter. I can just be like, you're amazing. Give them their flowers. I am literally the compliment queen. Like, within 10 seconds of knowing you, if I haven't given you a compliment, something's wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Something's not wrong with you. But like, literally, that's like where I am in my journey. So if you feel like you see a lot of people and you automatically have like a judgment about them or something critical to say or a comparison or some type of shade, sometimes the haters, don't realize that they're the haters. Hurt people hurt people. And if you notice that you're highly critical of somebody, my father, that may mean you're highly critical of yourself. You know what I mean? Like I said before, we can only greet others with as much compassion as we're able to greet ourselves with. Listen to your gut. There's been times in my life, times in this job, where somebody's thrown me shade, and then I've given them sort of time to rectify that their shade or situations, and they don't. And I'm like, okay, maybe they didn't mean that. Maybe I'm sensitive. Or maybe it wasn't that, or kind of just like let things go because I'm like, oh, is that shade? I have been naive in the past, and sometimes shade is shade. There's a lot more unhealed people in society than we realize. As I say in my yoga classes all the time, shedding of the ego equals not only individual liberation, but societal liberation, because we are all connected. Everything in the universe is connected. We heal one, we can heal the many, because you know on your worst day how you can go out and you can be like F you to the guy at the cash register, and you can be F you to your girlfriend, F you to your you know, if you know what I mean? We can, on our worst day, we're not the best human beings. And so I guess with that, also give yourself and others grace when you see somebody maybe not being that's sweet, maybe a little spice, a little bit savory in public. We can forgive them and ourselves for our own humanity. But yes, listen to your gut instead of always asking others about something. I am notorious, if I have a big decision, starting to build that trust in my own gut. What do I like? What do I think? Not being afraid to fail. Hey, take a chance. If that wasn't work, try something else later. Lastly, but not leastly, number 4, express yourself honestly, okay? Speak your truth. Speak it. Who cares? You know, there were so many times I felt like I needed to conform or say this and say that, and I never felt like I was at the cool kids table. And that's fine, you know. And I also realized I am a Black queer woman from South Central Los Angeles. You know what I mean? Like that I went into a predominantly white private school. Like I am never going to quote unquote fit in. And I'm also in the entertainment industry that's, you know, historically racist. Being alive, being in space without opening my mouth, expressing any opinions will ruffle feathers. So in that, for myself, I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter what I say. They go hate me anyway. So just literally be myself. And when I'm my most self, that just freed me up to liberate myself. And I noticed the more I'm liberated, the more it paves the way to liberate others. And not everybody's going to feel that way. Honestly, your light may pull out others' demons a little bit, because they don't know how to expand their light. And they may be in that, you know, that number 3, right? That's comparing themselves to other space, rather they're conscious or unconscious that they're in that ego space. Also, with expressing yourself honestly, that goes, get to know yourself, right? Don't be afraid to try new things. Try that didn't work for me. Try that didn't work for me. Try a new style. Maybe you gonna be emo for a week. Maybe you preppy for a week now, and then at the 3rd month, on the 5th year, you realize, no, I'm just a preppy goth. I feel like society makes us want to be in the box, right? Like what Beyonce said at the Grammys, like, you know, within the music genre, she's like, you're this artist, you're an R&B artist, or a country artist, or, you know, you can be pop, you can't be both, or it just confuses the awards feeds. But like, I love that. You know, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, whether it's the way you think in your politics, you know, not everything is so linear. Gray. We will never know the gray unless we really ask ourselves those critical questions. I literally have met people and I'm like, you think exactly how I think. I'm like, how are you Republican? And they're like, well, you know, I've just always been Republican. My dad's Republican. I'm like, So that isn't much critical thinking. You're just going along with the status quo of society or status quo of your family without really excavating your value system. Like, this is aligned with this, is aligned with this. And it doesn't necessarily have to make sense to anyone else as long as it's your truth that is actually in alignment. And I'm just in that place now where I don't give any F's. I just want to be myself because I know how dark it can get, right? I know how bad it can be not living in my truth, not being myself, not living in like the reality of being like, there's no racism, there's no sexism, there's no Holocaust. Like, literally, this cognitive dissonance can like make us sick. Like, racism is a mental health disorder. It's a psychosis. It's feeding into societal illusions and not leading into what's real. And what's real is everything is connected. How the air atoms vibrate against my atoms, ripple against your atoms, and the atoms against everything else in the world, against everything in the universe. And in that, we can create this love, warm, abundant energy. We can literally shift the energy here, or we can shift the energy here individually and as a human consciousness if we decide. Hashtag free Palestine, free Congo, free Sudan. But first, remember, the revolution will not be televised because the revolution happens in your mind. Until next time, we out, baby. Drink a lot of water and smile at strangers. Why? Because that's how we build community.